So the next bit we'll talk about this idea called cumulative frequency. Now the word cumulative basically means we try to add things up or we try to add a total of things. So that means when I'm trying to work out the frequency usually corresponds to each group. But when I work out the cumulative frequency, I need to work out everything that is above that line. So I'll show you what that means. So the first cumulative frequency will be fairly straightforward because that's just 10, because that's the only number there. Now the second column, what I need to put in here is we need to add up these two numbers, 10 and 7, because we need to add up everything above that line. So that's going to be 17. Now for the next bit, if we look at that, okay, we just need to add 22 to these two numbers, or say add 22 to 17, and we'll basically get 39 as our cumulative frequency. Let's have a look at the rest of the table. I'm just going to call a few people to help me to finish up this table. So let's start with okay, Sam. Sam, are you here? Yep. So can you tell me which number you were putting in this column? Think about the cumulative frequency means we need to add things up. So we need to add this number 22 to 17 and we get 39. So the number here will be 70. Good. Very good. Well done, Sam. Okay, so the next one. So let's just see who's here on the day. So, okay, Katie, are you here? Can you hear me? Good. Okay, so just let me know, like, which number would you put in this one? 91. Very good. So how do you get 91? Yeah, add these two up. Good. So next one. Let's just say Alicia. Which number should you put in this one? 95. Good. Very nice voice over the mic. Okay. Next one. Okay. So, let's see. Noah, which number would I put in this one? 97. Good. And the lucky last. Let's just go to Maddie. Are you here? 98. Good. All right. Very good. So this is how we start doing working out a cumulative. Now the idea of cumulative is just we add everything that is above this line. So for every single number, it's easier to just add this one to the one above and add this one to the one above, and you get whatever that is on the corner. Okay, well done. Now now let's talk about how do we use that. Okay. Now there's a reason why we work out the cumulative frequency. If we just have the frequency table, okay, instead of the cumulative, so what can we find from that? Now the only thing we can find will be this one, which is our mode. Because if we look at that, we'll see that 31 is the largest number among all frequency. So we can say, well, this one is just basically our mode, which means the thing that appears most often. Okay, so this is our mode. So most people sleep 8 to 9. That's the only thing we can tell from this list. Once we have the cumulative frequency, we will be able to find the other two, which is the mean and the median. So we'll see how that works. Okay, so if we have the cumulative frequency, I'll summarize that into here. It's the same figure. Okay, um, now the total number says it's 98. So that means there are 98 people being surveyed in this question. Now, therefore, we need to find halfway through. So 98 halfway through, we can just use 98 divide by 2, and you'll be able to get halfway through is about 49. Okay. Now, lucky here, 98 is an even number, so we can just divide by 2, get 49. Now, what does that mean? That means if I want to find my median, so the middle section, it has to lie on number 49. So if we check the first one, is that in? No, because 10 that's below 49. 17 still below 49. 39 still below 49. So it is until this point, at this point, when we see 70. So that's the first number that is above 49. So we can also say this number tells us it's the median. Okay, so it's the median. Now I know in this one the median and the mode, they happen to be the same one, but in many cases that could be different. So just try to follow this. So we get halfway through, we check which one is that falling to. Okay, all right. So this is how we find a median. Median means the middle point. Now the difficult bit, the tricky bit will be the mean, okay? The mean is arguably the most difficult one to find. So to be able to find that, we need to first generate a concept called the middle point of each group. So what does that mean? That means for the first group, if I have 5 to 6, okay, the middle point of that will be halfway between 5 and 6, which is we get a half in that, so 5.5 basically. And similarly, halfway between 6 and 7, we say that's 6.5, and so on and so forth, 7.5 and 8.5 and 9.5 and 10.5. We can just keep going on, and 11.5 and then 12.5. Okay, so this is the average of the group. That depends on the two numbers, the higher end and the lower end of the group. And we take the average of that. Say, all right, although many people will say they sleep between 5 and 6, some will say 5 hours sharp, someone will say 5.5, someone will say 5.25, but we just take the average of that being 5.5. Okay. Now the next bit, we need to work out the weight average. We need to use two things. We need to use the frequency and we need to use the middle point. And we just basically multiply these two. Okay? Oops, sorry. So multiply these two. Multiply the frequency by the middle point. So the first one I got 10 times 5.5. So I get 57. Sorry, 55. My bad. So the next one, I get 7 times 6.5. So a quick round of calculation that will be 45.5. Okay, you can use your calculator in this calculation. That's totally fine. Okay, so anyone tell me what's the next one? So let's see who's here. Okay, so who's here today? Andrew. Can you tell me how do you find this number here? Andrew? Yep, that's all good. Can you tell me how do you find this number in this one? We need to use two numbers and multiply them together. Which two numbers should I use? Good, very good. So we need to multiply 7.5 to 22. All right, so do you need help with calculation? Nope. Right, so can you tell me the final answer? Yeah, which is? Good, very good. Brilliant. Well done, Andrew. Okay, so the next one. So when we have the next column, so Brock, what do you think? Good. And then we get good. Right. Well done. Okay, so keep it going. So next one, Indigo. Which number should I get here? Yes. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. So Indigo, just to go through this, I just want to make sure that everybody everybody get this concept. So the weight average basically means we'll use the frequency to multiply the middle point. So it's like the middle point is the average of each group. So from 5 to 6, the middle point will be 5.5. Now for each group, you have a frequency. We use that frequency to multiply the middle points and we get a weight average. So think about which two numbers should you use to multiply together to get the weight average here. Okay, and so basically you need to have two numbers. The first number, which is the frequency. What's the frequency for this group? Good. And then we need to find a midpoint, the midpoint, which is the average of this group. So which is think again. So between 9 and 10. So it's going to be good. So we just use 21 to multiply 9.5. So we get, do you have a calculator with you or yep. So how much do we get? Mhm. Okay, it's all right. So we just talk about a bit, okay, trick on the calculation. Okay, so this is another crazy math stuff, which have a listen. You don't have to understand this, but it's good to know. So we want to figure out what's 21 times 9.5. Okay, so it's easy to thinking this way. It's a crazy number. We probably don't know that, but we do know 21 times 10, right? So it's an easy calculation. That's just going to be 210. But of course, these two are not equal because 10 is bigger than 9.5. 10, well, how much bigger? Which is 0.5 bigger than 9.5. And then just don't forget to multiply the 21. So 0.5 means a half. A half of 21 will be just around 10.5. So eventually we get 210 take away 10.5. So we get 199.5. Okay. Now, if you have a calculator, let me know if I'm doing the calculation wrong. Okay. I reckon it will be just like that. Okay, so the next bit will be the easy bits. We're just trying to finish it up very quickly. So same, we found a frequency, we found a middle point, just multiply them together, we got 42. And then we find a frequency, we find a middle point, if we multiply them together, we got 23. And last bit, 1 times 12.5, we got 12.5. 1 times the number is self. Okay, excuse my poor scribble, but that's basically what it looks like. Okay, so once you got that, you can just go on to use a calculator to sum everything up. So just to make sure you include everything. So 55 plus 45.5 and plus 16.5 plus 263.5 plus 199.5 plus 42 plus 23 plus 12.5 is going to be equal to this one. So just a quick check because you can always check how many numbers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups. So we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So looks about right. So we can say the total, if we add them up, is going to be equal to 657.5. Okay, that is my total number. Okay, but think about it. So that's my total number. But how many people are there? Okay, how many people are there who are being surveyed? We know there are 98 people because that's the total number. 98 people being surveyed. So we just use the sum, the total, divide by the number, and we should be able to get a fairly crazy number. So divide by 98, we'll get this. So